I'm AgroBlaze96.
And I'm the Woodshed, and welcome to the AgroShed Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode number 5. Today, we are going to be breaking down Fortnite, how it's changed, all the things that have happened, and everything in between. As you guys know, I'm AgroBlaze96. This is...
I'm the Woodshed.
And Kyle has prepared a slew of questions for us today. Well, a slew is probably a stretch, but he's got questions for us. We're going to talk about Fortnite. Kyle, get us started, baby.
Slew's probably being a little generous, but I do appreciate it. Before we get started, my random nonsense of the day, make sure you let us know in the comments section below, how do you guys feel about a feet cam for me and Zack putting it on? And let us know who you think would win the game of footsie. If you want to figure out who does win, Two Cousins, One Podcast, onlyfans.com.
We're still not cutting it. I'm still keeping it.
Fantastic. That's what I want. We're going to talk a lot about Fortnite today, right? Fortnite's fantastic. We're going to start with pretty easy ones. First of all, I do want to point out not just Fortnite as a whole, but how Fortnite has changed the gaming industry and the platform. Not only being one of the first battle royale games that, like PUBG when it first came out, but being one of the first free-to-play games.
Yep.
That it said, you know what? Realistically, even though the original Fortnite wasn't, but Fortnite Battle Royale was one of the first free-to-play games that was like, you know what? We don't care if you pay for us. We just want to see you come play.
I mean, yeah.
But also opened up the market to microtransactions. We'll get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not very hot on my agenda, though, believe it or not, out of all things.
I mean, I can't blame you. Like, honestly, it's so weird because so many games are microtransaction-y everywhere nowadays. And it's weird to think that, like, that all kind of started with Fortnite.
It is weird. Like, mobile games were always kind of like that. But
sure.
Fortnite was the first one to be like, you know what? Bam. Personally, I'd rather have a free game and spend $10 every once in a while on some skins that I like, as opposed to just $70 like I do Call of Duty, and then them try to get me $10 to $15 in skins.
Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. And it's weird. Like, I would probably, Fortnite's probably the game I spent the most money on. Like, from like a standpoint. Yeah, I mean, I think of how many skins we bought over the years, like especially me and Carly. I mean, I spent a lot of money on Fortnite, probably more than I have if I would have just bought the damn game for $80 or $70 or whatever it is. So, yeah, anyway.
That's pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie though, when he said that, I definitely thought he meant hundreds of dollars, not $70 or $80 worth he spent on
No, I've definitely spent hundreds of dollars. I just mean that it's more than the cost of a game.
Fair enough. Yeah, 100%. He's alone in that one, though. I don't buy skins like that.
Bad spending habits with Zack.
We should do a financial episode, which means get Carly in here. Get Carly in here.
I was like, dude, get Carly in here. I love it.
We'll talk about spreadsheets. We're going to start real easy, though. Real nice, real easy, right?
Hit me with it.
You ready? Go to landing spot. Go.
Ooh, like in the game currently?
No, just period. Go.
Oh, dude, tilted every time.
Oh, he's a psychopath.
I know, I know it's basic. I know that you die almost immediately, but dude, landing it tilted has that that nostalgia feeling for me of like, holy shit, am I gonna find a gun? Like playing OG Fortnite that they've come out with has been really fun. Like I really like landing at tilted. I know it's like super basic, but I don't know. Like I love tilted.
Tilted Tower is fantastic, right? It's the hot spot. It's the spot you went when you were like, you know what? I'm just tired, or I'm gonna heat check. I want an excuse to get off early, so I'm gonna ping Tilted. Or I had such a good game, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, we will. Let's. It's heat check time. That's what it is.
We all knew what it meant when somebody said, "Last game, we're going Tilted." Like,
yeah, that was somebody was tired of playing and they wanted to quit games. They wanted
for sure.
Very quickly, go-to landing spot for me is easily Retail Row.
Okay, yeah.
The reason for that being, it's home and native. Shout out Tim the Tapman, my favorite streamer. He always called it home and native. It was his favorite spot that he always landed on. When the first time I really discovered Tim before, I watched him play a little bit of Overwatch, but I really got into it when he played Fortnite. And Retail Row was his spot. So I always take home and native. Retail Row.
Yeah, I like that, dude. I love Tim. Tim's great, man.
Tim's fantastic. I absolutely love Tim the Tapman. Somebody called me Tim the Tapman with hair the other day. And
best compliment you've ever gotten?
I definitely said I was slimmer than he was, but that was neither here nor there. I don't have nearly as many tattoos. It's that part's a damn shame. So I trade.
He is tatted up, dude. He is tatted
That's the
up.
name. Did you know that's the name? It's Tim the Tat Man, like tattoos.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I had to watch him for like a year before I discovered that was the fucking name. It wasn't just a nickname.
I think you told me that is like one of the only reasons I ever looked at it.
Shout out to his tattoos, man. Shout out to tattoos. If you all know a good tattoo artist, let me know. In the Charlotte area, preferably. But so let's talk about. Let's go. So we got favorite landing spot. Let's go ahead and let's just talk about some favorite memories. Like, let's just reminisce a little bit. Go ahead,
man.
What's your favorite Fortnite memory?
Okay, so this is gonna sound weird, but I have two like very fond memories of playing Fortnite. Like, and I'm talking like early Fortnite. Like, there's a lot of great memories, but like one of my favorite memories is when Fortnite first came out. Let me rephrase. When the Battle Royale first came out. My brother Xander, who's like my next oldest sibling, he had discovered Fortnite before it became popular, and we would play. But the only strategy we knew was hiding in bushes. So we would get like gray guns, and we would sit in bushes and camp. And I actively remember like playing with him, and that was like a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed that. And then the other thing I remember is mine and yours first win. Like, I actually remember it to this day. We were actually on the other side of Retail Row going up towards the mountain with a circle, and we had built up behind these two teams that were fighting, and we both we both double pumped each of the other teams, and we ended up winning the game because of it. Yeah, I mean, throwback, this was when double pump was a thing, so clearly this was a long time ago. But, yeah.
And we're old, by the way. We played Fortnite more or less right when it came out.
Yeah.
More or less, right? That's a good one. I don't remember that, but that's pretty cool. I remember my first solo win.
Okay.
Which was before circles moved.
Okay, yeah.
So I 1-by-1. I had a sniper. If you guys know anything about my gaming background, me with a sniper is just put your foot in the grave now. Even to this day, give me a sniper in Fortnite. I'm still.
He's always loved it.
And it was GG. I was like at the top of retail. I think I was in like that very back line of the actual retail shops, and I built on top of it, or maybe it was just on the little hill behind it. I was built right above it, and I was just in a 1-by-1. Nobody could get me down. I killed everybody. I killed whatever was left.
Yeah,
that was a pretty fun one for me. I have a second one as well.
All right,
this is how much of a Tim the Tatman fanboy I was. He died to fall damage, which was 10 damage, right?
It's still a thing. They still give him crap about it.
They still, and he still dies to fall damage.
I know, dude.
But I remember very vividly. I had impulses, and I was younger, right? And like I didn't know this type of game, right? Like first over the shoulder shooters. So I was only so comfortable I was with it.
Yeah.
So I had some impulses, and I'd seen people, throw them at the ground, run in front of them, jump, yeet, you go attack somebody, right? I was playing with Ben, Diablo, and maybe it was just us three, my brother and a buddy of ours, and I was playing with them. And they were both on top of like a 1-by-1, but like 1 or 2 stories high, so really short. Fighting somebody doing the same thing at Frenzied Farms Fields, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I can't remember what the original name was.
And I said, "I'll see you in Valhalla, boys." I threw it at my feet. I jumped. I landed in there 1-by-1, and immediately fucking died. Immediately. I got there. I shot somebody. I didn't kill them. They all turned and shot me, and I died.
That's amazing.
And I was like, hey boys, I need a heal.
I absolutely love that.
That's one of my favorites.
I have an honorable mention for this one that I thought about that I would like to throw out. Shout out to Carly. This is a classic Carly story.
Oh, God.
So for anybody who does not know, my wife is Carly, and she did not play a ton of video games before we started dating, but since then has really come around to it. So for anybody the plunger grappler, when they originally brought this back, we were playing OG Fortnite, and we had been chasing this guy. It was 2-on-1 at the very end of the game, and I plunger on top of this hill, and I tell her, we're up here. So she throws a shockwave at the ground and jumps. She overshoots the mountain, and as she's falling down the other side, you literally just hear her go, "Ah!" as like she's falling off the other side. And like there's a clip of it on my Twitch, but God, it was just so funny, dude. And like that is like a classic Carly moment when I think of it.
Make sure you check out Zack's Twitch to see that clip, because that's fucking hilarious. Um, I also I want to add one more honorable mention.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna add one more because we could sit here and go down memories.
Oh,
over
for
and
sure,
over and
for
over
sure.
again. Especially with Fortnite, because this is one of the few games that we got so many of our friends to play together. I was playing with, again, my brother Ben. I was playing with Diablo, and I was playing with another one of their friends. I don't remember who it was.
Okay.
Um, and we were playing, and we were in Lucky, and something happened, and me and Diablo both went down, and Ben is fighting somebody, and so is his buddy. Or maybe his buddy's already been thirsty, but Ben's fighting. And me and Diablo are bickering, right? This is like, the game hadn't been around for forever, but there were a couple of submachine guns that were building shredders.
Okay, yeah.
So Diablo got into a fight. I pushed to help him. I got my ass ate. I'm 12 HP. I boxed myself in. They're shredding my thing. Diablo goes down. I go down. Diablo yells that I should have pushed when I had 12 health. I remember I had 12 health and he wanted me to help him push. And I was like, no fucking way. And I go down and he goes down, and Ben and whoever tried to engage this guy.
Yeah.
And me and him are still bickering. And 2 minutes before, Ben said, I'm just so glad this party's not toxic. And then as me and Diablo are bickering, Ben just goes, shut the fuck up, everybody. I can't hear anything with you two bitching. And me and him both just stopped, and we both went, so glad this party's not toxic. So glad.
Dude, I have heard you all say that to each other so many times, but I've never heard the actual story of where that comes from, dude. That's amazing. I love that.
Ben swears up and down that we won that game. Ben's old. There's no that's a game that we didn't make it out of like the top 60, dude. We died so early on in that game because that was our landing. We landed, we fought, we got 8.
So this is like first thing that's happening.
This is like seriously, like we could not have been within. There had to have been 60 players or more left before we died.
That's crazy.
So Ben has to have that memory mixed up with something else. We absolutely didn't make it.
I mean, I get it.
So as far as terms of when the game was out,
okay.
As far as you remember seasons, chapters, game modes, anything, what was peak Fortnite for you?
Man, this is so tough because I don't really remember the like seasons and chapters and stuff like that. Like I'm really bad with recollecting all those. But the chapter where we had the red dot single shot, like it was like one of the first times that they had given us like the red dot, and it was like hit scan. It had the whole thing, but it was like this red dot single shot weapon that they gave us, and it's been pretty recently. Like this is within the last couple of years. I just remember like that was the season that we played a lot of Fortnite. Right after I bought my PC, I was like, I had my mouse for the first time to really be leaning into like the red dot single shot like style game, and I just remember like torching kids. It was the twin mag red dots, what it was called, or something like that, because it had the quick mag that you could reload with, and that was probably my favorite season because the only movement was shockwaves. Like cars were like not really a thing yet. They were like kind of there and you could drive them around, but they were few and far between. So it was like these like long range hit scan weapons and shocks. And that was the game mode. And I remember loving that season.
That's a fair answer, right? For me, it's definitely going to be earlier seasons.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you exactly why. I can tell you what happened on the map that when I started losing interest is when Dusty Depot became Dusty Divot.
Yep.
That was kind of the end for me. I still enjoyed it with Dusty Divot, but after that season is when it started taking a little dip for me.
Okay.
But the reason it started taking a dip for me, like with most people, right, is I got too old to really build well.
Yeah.
Or I didn't have the time and patience to put real practice in at that point.
I mean, it's fair.
And now that I've actually gotten older, I actually prefer to build because I still do okay at building. But the issue is that now all my friends are old and none of them want to play build regularly.
I mean, I understand it. Like, and it's so weird because like the no build mode has been around for so long at this point that I genuinely can't really remember the game without it right now. But like back in the day, like, building was all there was and that was all we knew. So it's definitely been like a big change of pace. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got from peak Fortnite, right? We talked about how Fortnite changed gaming, right? In so many ways, right? Let's shift a little bit, right? When do you think Fortnite started losing its edge in the gaming world? Fortnite's always been a fantastic game. It's always fantastic, might be generous. It's always been a huge game. It's always had its place in history as far as gaming goes, and it probably always will. But there was definitely a decline there. When do you think that was?
I feel like Apex Legends like really took a lot of the player base for a while. That, and I know like Valorant was really popular. So like I don't know that I could sit and tell you like the day or even the season or the chapter when Fortnite took a decline. But I remember that, we played it a lot at the very beginning, and then like we all stopped playing it for a while. So I do think, the Dusty Divot one was actually one when I remember we stopped playing a lot. Even like me personally, I stopped playing the game a lot, but I don't know that there's really a point in time that I can say when it started to take a decline. I just remember, like, from the personal point of view, there was a time when I wasn't playing as much. Now that was more for like personal reasons, like work and college and all the other stuff that was going on. But I remember the game taking a decline for me at that point in time.
And that's probably pretty fair. Yeah, and generally, that's not even something I thought about when Apex Legends come out, because people were just trying to look for something different, right? Something that was the same but different.
Sure.
It was something that kind of entered the same space. Something on, just to piggyback off of that, was Warzone, right? That's something that was, people knew exactly what it was like, but in a different setting, right? And the thing is with Fortnite, right? Here's where I think Fortnite started losing, right? Because a lot of people share my sentiment where they went, building was great until sweats were a thing. Like, people could just insta build, right?
Oh, sure.
And there was just, you didn't have a chance if you didn't play this game nonstop.
Right.
You didn't have that issue at Apex, and you didn't have that issue in Warzone. And the gunplay in both those games is better. So a lot of people got forced into no build.
Mm-hmm.
But the gunplay in Fortnite's not as good as it is in Apex or in Call of Duty. So a lot of people opted to play those games where the gunplay is better and the movement's more the focus, rather than Fortnite, which is a cartoony shooter that doesn't have the best gunplay in the world. I think that's really where it did start to fall off.
I mean, that's fair. And like Warzone, is like one of those ones that I completely agree with, because I mean, for how many years did you and I both collectively sit and say, I wish they would give us Fortnite without building and Call of Duty guns? Like and like we would play the crap out of it. And that's true, because when Warzone came out, we played the shit out of that. We played Warzone forever. And so, I mean, yeah, like that honestly makes a lot of sense, because you took Call of Duty, a game that people have loved for a long time, and you turned it into what was successful about Fortnite, and you gave us that. Now, I will say that I think a lot of people who played Fortnite, a lot of people liked Fortnite because of the building aspect. Now, a lot of those people became like, the sweats who we watch on TV and like, watch on Twitch, who are streaming now all the time. But right. I still think that was like the biggest pull, because, and you used to say this a lot, but back in the day, like the gunplay, like, was not great. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't phenomenal. Like, it wasn't something that, like, to write home about. Yeah. And so like the building aspect is what made Fortnite stand out for sure.
Yeah, and that's I hate to say it about Fortnite, right? But that's like, that was kind of just an issue they were going to have to come across.
Sure.
Like, no game's ever prepared for the highest level of whatever happened. Call of Duty wasn't ready for slide canceling. That's why they tried to change it in Cold War, right?
Yep.
They weren't ready for that. The issue is that the thing that made them special was what the competitive community and some people who just like streamers and stuff just absolutely took over. And there was just no chance for the casual player, right? And not the
for sure.
And so here's the thing: how would you tackle going against, like, if somebody just started like just one by one and just like cranking 180s on you, right, or 90s on you, whatever you call it.
Yeah, cranking like, 90s.
You're not even going to try. You're going to take that emote where you sit there and you sit in the chair and you start playing the banjo until they get to the top and they snipe you. You're just going to sit there and just get your ass ate, right? You're not,
building definitely became less fun after a while, because it was no longer like casual building. It was definitely like the sweats, and that was all you played against at the end of the game. Or you landed with one and just immediately got wrecked.
Yeah, and so I feel bad for Fortnite, because it was what made them special, but it was ultimately what did a lot of their player base away towards the end, right? When people couldn't learn that mechanic back because there was just so much to it. And they said, you know what? I'd rather just go and have better gunplay and not have to worry about this.
Yeah, for sure. Completely.
Fortnite's still a fantastic game, though, by the way. Still great. Huge game. No hate to them. This is going to sound like I'm going to have some hate to them. What do you think are some of the worst changes that have ever come to Fortnite?
The movement pieces. Like, I think
specific.
The movement pieces are some of the best thing that's ever happened and some of the worst things that have ever happened. So there was a time period where in Fortnite you had the hammer, like it was a weapon and it was movement. And it was like you spun in a circle, and when it hit the ground, you shot back up and you kept going. You could hold 4 hammers and like there was no drawback. You could just keep using them, and when you landed on someone, you waylaid them with a hammer, and then you turned and you shot them with your SMG or your AR. And so like people were running like 3 hammers as movement, and it was ridiculous. Like that meta was ridiculous. So although I think the movement that Fortnite has made has been an ultimate positive change for the game because it's made the game more fun for the no build community, I think while they were ironing it out, it was a negative impact for the community. Like the sword, shockwaves, like going from impulses to shockwaves was a massive W, unless you're just out to troll your friends and like, impulse people off buildings. Shout out Kyle. But like, I don't know. Like, I think the movement has been some of the best and worst things that have happened for the game. And the other thing I would say, and this is a personal pick because of the time period I grew up in, I hate that they went away from hit scan. I love hit scan guns. I love hit scan shooting. That's how I would prefer all shooters be, in my opinion.
But that's your preference in gunplay versus like Call of Duty, which even though it might not be hit scans, a lot truer to feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Versus the bloom you would get from Fortnite, which is just
especially tiny. Early bloom. Like early bloom in Fortnite sucked. It was terrible.
For those of you who don't know what bloom is, I'll clarify real quick. Bloom is the randomization of the pattern and grouping of bullets when not aimed down an actual reticle.
Yeah, it's not even like recoil. It's just literally random.
So when you would zoom in, but you wouldn't look down an actual sight, and your bullets would jump from the top right to the top left to the bottom right to the top right to the middle to the bottom left, that's bloom. And bloom in a game like this where you can't ADS really kills the guns that you can't ADS on. It makes the favoritism go towards the ones you can.
Yeah, for sure.
But it definitely makes it very hard to go back to seasons when they don't have it, right?
Also, for sure.
As soon as they take it away, right? As soon as they took away the MK assault rifle.
Oh, yeah.
You were just like, God, what's the fucking point to any of these guns, right?
Yeah.
Now the best thing you have is an ADS burst, and you're just like, well, I might as well just put my nuts in a wood chipper.
It was not great.
I think that's probably pretty fair, right? The movement's not a bad shout, right? Some of the worst changes. Here's what I think. I think some of the worst changes they made were to mat collection. So like material collection.
Okay.
There was one update where they cut your materials in half.
Yep, it went from 1,000 to 500.
And they cut the amount that you got per that you were trying to do.
Yep.
And that to me at the time, because I had actually been trying to practice building at the time. So I was trying to be a sweat, or at least somebody that could at least like not go out there and just get wrecked.
Right.
Immediately. Like I would at least, crank 1 or 2 90s with you and then get eaten. Right.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, oh, that guy's, he's not terrible.
Sure.
And that would be all I could ever hope for as far as Fortnite went. But
I get it for a lot of us, man.
But the taking it down, and I had to just try so much harder just to farm up the materials for it. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to try so much harder for a thing in the game I don't even fucking want, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
I really like that as your pick. From a like casual standpoint, from like a like us as the player base like point of view, I really like your pick. I think from a competitive point of view, it made like the resource management a lot more interesting. So, for the comp scene, it was, I think, a good change. But from a casual point of view, I completely agree. It was a net negative change for the casual scene.
And to keep in mind, right, not that it's a bad thing to make something specifically for a comp scene, right?
Sure.
Clash of Clans has done that, which is my game of choice for most people. It's called hard mode. You just play against each other, but the stuff has more health. Stuff doesn't do as much damage. It's exactly what it sounds like. You can't cater the whole game or the public games to the comp scene because 95% of your player base is hella casual, and there's what keeping your game alive, right?
Yeah.
So catering to something like that, although I think you're right, I think it makes comp scene better. Just fuck the 99% of us, right? I'll just go ahead and bend over. Respectfully. Thank you, Epic. Talking about the comp scene, though, how do you feel about heal-offs that keep happening in the comp scene?
Heal-offs?
Have you not seen those?
I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
Oh, man. So this has been happening more and more, where people have been basically not fighting, and they have 1v1s, and people are just healing and healing and healing and healing. So much so, they had to add something to the game called Storm Sickness.
Oh, I do know what Storm Sickness is.
And so they actually had to add that because people were just healing off, and there were, I mean, minute-long heal-offs or better, with just no place on the map to be safe.
So you mean people were just like, you're talking about when people started sitting in the storm? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
But it was
okay.
into the game. There was no safe spot left. Everything was in storm, and people just started healing off. I can't believe you haven't heard about this. We're gonna have to show you something.
I've never heard it called that before. I know what you're referencing, but I'd never heard the term before. I'm glad they added storm sickness to the game. Like, I don't, the idea of, you know, me and you being the only two people left, and you're sitting in your box healing and I'm sitting in my box healing, and whoever runs out of bandages or medkits first loses. No, like, fuck that. Pull out a gun. Let's fight. That's ridiculous. Like, I think that's stupid. So if storm sickness is why that got added, then yeah, hell yeah, I'm all for it. Great change.
Do you almost think that there should be a point where they keep the circle open and just let it be really small to kind of force people to fight it out? Because you're right, it's not about who can out heal who better, right? It should be about who's the better player or who's in the better position, who's been doing what or what better.
I completely agree because like if you ever watch like, you know, like FNCS and stuff like that, and even like old school like comp tournaments, you can see like it's the people who are in the circle like maintaining, you know, that like small ass circle where like one person can stand, like whether it's on mats or whatever they're on, it's that person who wins the game. And I think that's way more skill intensive than just two people sitting in a box healing and like not doing anything. That's lame. And it's boring content. Like, I don't know why anybody would want to watch it. I think it's bad for your game. So yeah, I think that the strategy of having to fight and kill each other is way better for the game.
So we like the idea as a collective unit here of keeping the circle to some extent where you could still fight. Maybe not to where it's just one person fits and you guys are different level, but maybe a tier or two above that where you guys have maybe 30 feet between you, 40, 50 feet, and you got to duke it out at some point.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's a very positive change.
I actually really like that idea. I'm so glad I come up with it on the fly. That was not part of my notes.
I love it. I love that you're just making shit up over there.
Speaking of, buddy, that's how I live, man. That's how I live. Speaking of which, well, since Zack doesn't know about the heal offs, right? That's going to have to be something I show you later. By the
Okay.
way. How do you feel about this is something else that people complained about. This is a lot more recently. How do you feel about the one-shot headshot snipers?
I mean, it's a sniper. It should be one shot. Like if you hit me in the head in a game mode where I can build to protect myself, and in a game mode with like, you know, like the jumping capabilities and like the movement pieces that we have, yes, sniper should be one shot headshot. I will not bend the knee on this point.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that because that was a hot topic, right? That so many people complained about a sniper one shot in somebody.
Sure, I mean, get good. Like I don't know what to tell you.
I'm absolutely here for it. I think that's a fantastic point. Just get good, Omega lol.
Exactly.
I think that's fantastic, right? And as a sniper, to no surprise, I absolutely love one-shot headshots.
Sure.
I think if you're that far away, or I get that lucky by a no scope, I think it's just it's not your day.
Just you take those on the chin. It's just how it goes sometimes.
Literally, that's how you die. It hits you in the chin. Maybe just just be better forehead.
Exactly. Duh.
Just run cap shield. Just not worry about it. Right?
Obviously.
Shout out to those Marvel collabs, by the way. Those were pretty fucking cool.
Fortnite has done some amazing collaborations over the years.
Don't get ahead of it though. Well, that's part of it.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. What would you like to see added or brought back to Fortnite?
Brought back to Fortnite?
Or if you want something original, something that's straight.
Normally, my answer to this would be double pumping, but they recently brought double pumping back. I know a lot of people did not like the double pumping part of the game, but I really enjoyed it. I felt like it added like a really good aspect to like the whole building mechanic and like how the game was originally intended to be played. So I like double pumping a lot. But if there was something that I could like add back to the game, I would bring back the sword on a permanent basis. So the sword was like not like it only did like 30 damage every time it hit you. Wasn't a lot of damage, but it was great movement because you got 5 sword movements before like it had to start recharging. And so I like the sword a lot. So the sword would be my permanent add to the game to the end of time as movement piece.
Well, that's a little surprising.
What about you?
Man, I'm gonna have a really weird one,
Okay.
and I don't remember the name of the gun specifically, but it was a single barrel, long range shotgun.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called. I want that back. I like the shotgun that has not like ridiculous range, but like I'm not gonna get penalized for it not being in your rectum. I love that shotgun. It did a decent amount of damage. It was relatively easy to use. You did have to kind of aim it pretty well, which I had no problem with.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think that should be back on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Olympia from Call of Duty. Like, because you shot, the bullet popped out, you had to reload it, and then you could keep going. But it reloaded quickly, so it was okay. I can't remember what that one was called either, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Just put a damn elephant gun in the game and just call it the elephant gun.
I love that.
Don't actually do that, Fortnite. What would you on the flip side of that, what would you like removed from Fortnite? If you could take something away, what would it be?
I don't know. This one's a tough one because like I feel like there's something in every season that I hate. Probably customizing the guns, if I had to be honest. Like the gold mechanic and like taking away like adding different scopes and the silencers and all this kind of different stuff. You're rewarding people for being able to do something different inside of the game, and we're like venturing down that like dangerous territory of like there's just always a better landing spot, and you're not encouraging people to play and explore the map, in my opinion. So like taking away the customization tool from like your specific guns, I think is a good tool to have. I want all the guns to be the same.
That is a fantastic point. Honestly, I didn't consider that. Truthfully, I wouldn't even mind a little bit of variation, but I mean like variations in scopes from like what you pick up off the floor.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Other than that, I think they should all be pretty universally the same, and even the scopes. Like I wouldn't be upset if they were all the same. I like that because you do. We talked about this in the Call of Duty episode. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Episode 2. Where customization becomes too much, and like immediately in Fortnite, the fact you can immediately have 3 or 4 different options on what you can do. Kind of a lot, right? There shouldn't be an advantage just because somebody can customize a gun or they found a workbench before you did and you just lost.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% how I feel.
I don't hate that. What I would like to remove from Fortnite is the swords permanently. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, bro.
You know what? I'm gonna remove the Spider-Man gloves.
I hate you. Don't ever talk to me again.
So the reason I'm going to give some story here, I know we said we weren't going to do more memories. I'm going to give you one more. So when they first did the Spider-Man collab,
please take me back.
I don't know who said it first, if it was Zack or me. I think it was me, and I caught it from a YouTube video.
Probably was you.
And the Spider-Man gloves were so cool. They were great movement. They were fun, right? They were awesome, right?
They were very well designed. Yes.
And so we'd always grab them, and I said Spodermans. I called them Spodermans for some reason. I don't know what video I got it from. Maybe Zack started.
I know where you got it from.
You do?
Yeah, throwback to our Halo episode. You got us from Deus Ex Machina. The last episode ends with the main character getting teabagged by Spoderman, and like the guy like photoshopped Spider-Man's face onto him at the end of the video. Spoilers, but also not because it's been out for like 20 years. But
so I called them Spodermans instead of Spider-Man hands or whatever the hell it was. And so Zack, every time, first of all, he would pick to land us in the middle of
the desert,
BFE,
the desert, because I knew they were there.
I mean, literally 15 minutes from past like where Jesus lost his sandals. I mean, they were so far out of the way. I mean, for Christ's sakes. And the only thing I'd be like, hey, where do you guys want to land? And it'd be pinged, and I would just hear Spider-Man.
Dude,
that would be it.
It got so bad. Carly asked me to stop one night.
Oh,
that's how bad it was.
And it was every game he wanted to go to the same spot so he knew he'd get them. That was the beginning of the end for Fortnite for me. That was the end of that was the start.
That was the beginning of the end.
That was the start of the drop, right?
That was one of the only times I would actively play Fortnite by myself because I knew I could just go to that spot over and over and over again, and there was nobody to care because it was just me playing the game by myself.
That was probably when you had some self-reflection. I was like, probably maybe I should dial it back a little bit though, because even Carly told me to shut.
When Carly told me, that was like a moment, and I was like, okay, maybe I say it every other game, like instead of every game or something so stupid. But yeah, it was bad. I remember that.
Oh man. So yeah, get rid of those, man. Get those out. fuck.
I would like to also say that Kyle doesn't want to get rid of them because he hated the gloves or what they did. Kyle wants to get rid of the gloves because of how angry I made him during that like 2-month period when we played Fortnite every night.
It just hurt my head and nowhere else. I just saw desert. I could have sworn I was playing Fallout New Vegas all over again. I mean, that's just what it was. And I'm just like, man, I really should just try and bend over and lick my own tank if I could.
I remember that we even went somewhere else during that time period, and wherever we landed, I found the Spider-Man gloves, like in like the first 2 seconds of being there at like random chance. And I remember being like, "Oh, Spider-Man's," and like Kyle was like, "Shut up! We're not even in the desert." And I would just remember like swinging around to these trees because I had them, and it was so stupid.
Oh man. God, that was so, and they were a cool item, right? But Zack ruined them for me. I still get nightmares. Occasionally, I wake up in cold sweats here and spot them.
Yeah,
So
that was fully me, not the game.
The 100% Zack. So they've added some pretty cool stuff. We just talked about adding or removing our own stuff, right? But Fortnite's done some pretty cool stuff, right?
For sure, yeah.
They've added some cool stuff. First thing that comes to mind is, first of all, like Lego Fortnite. How do you feel about Lego Fortnite?
I think all of the game modes are awesome. Like if we're gonna talk about each one of them individually, then I'll spend time on Lego. But like if we're just gonna talk about like all of the game modes they've added,
I got two individually.
Okay. So I really like Lego Fortnite. The childhood part of my brain really pulls to it. I'm really drawn to it. But I also kind of hate it at the same time. Because Minecraft has made my mind so symmetrical with how everything looks and is built, Lego Fortnite almost pisses me off. Because it's actual Lego pieces and they're not symmetrical, and it makes me angry. So I love it, but I also hate it.
That's pretty fair. I hate Lego Fortnite.
Oh, interesting.
I hate Lego Fortnite for the reason that I'm an old man, and it's just the meme, right? Where it's like, we have Minecraft at home, and this is the Minecraft at home. Listen, y'all, I'm still 28 years old, almost 29. I got a 10-month-old son, and guess what? I still have these 2 to 3 week phases every year where the only thing I play is Minecraft. I have a server that Zach's a part of, and Carly and a whole bunch of our friends. I have a solo world that I play on Java Edition by myself.
It happens to all of us because when Kyle gets into it, we all play for 2 weeks. It's just what happens every year. Like we're all like, oh yeah, like Minecraft's fun. But I definitely get what you're saying. Like if I sat down and I said, oh, like I want to play Lego Minecraft. No, I'm gonna play Lego Fortnite. I'm gonna play fucking Minecraft. Like that's what's gonna happen. So I get it. I completely get it.
And it's nothing against that, right? Like I guess if you didn't have Minecraft or you didn't,
sure,
whatever, right?
Yeah, no, it's free to play for people who want that.
I would rather just go play Minecraft. That's a more polished game and has a way more to it than Lego Fortnite.
100%.
The only other thing I want to talk about specifically individual modes, because there's like a lot of custom maps, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, right? But this is another one, and this is kind of a collaboration I did, even though Epic now owns them. They did one with Rocket League. It was Rocket Racing.
Okay, yeah.
But it didn't get a lot of attention upon after its release. Like it got a release, it got a little bit of hype, but didn't get a whole lot more love after that. Is there a certain reason you think that's why? Do you think there's anything they could have done to help Rocket Racing more?
If they wanted Rocket Racing to be as popular as old school Need for Speed games and stuff like that, they should have made it a thing by itself. So I have a weird take on this. They should have done those one at a time. Instead of giving us Rock Band, Minecraft, Legos and Rocket Racing all at the same time, they should have done them one at a time. Like if you give us Rock Band first, I think that game is like super played. Now, I still think Rock Band's played pretty popularly, but I'm saying like everyone loves Rock Band. And so like they dive into that. And then if you give us Rocket Racing, everyone's like, oh, like this is so cool. I love Rocket League, or I like Need for Speed, or whatever it is. And so I think that you get a lot more attention that way. But I think that the fact that they released all three of them at one time really killed any spot for like one big push into a new mode.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think he's right, to no surprise. I think beyond that with Rocket Racing more specifically, first of all, releasing all three of them together, I completely forgot they all got released at the same time.
Yeah.
Releasing all three of them at the same time, obviously you're just pulling attention from The things I understand what you're trying to do, you're trying to pull from the creative community like Minecraft, like Terraria, to play Lego Fortnite. Pretty cool idea, right? You're trying to pull from Rocket League. Even though it's Rocket League cars in a racing sim, so Need for Speed meets Rocket League.
Sure.
With Rocket Racing specifically, they needed to pick one because all it was respectfully again, right? It was a mediocre racing game with Rocket League cars.
Yeah.
And as a guy who plays Rocket League a fair bit, still to this day, shout out Peak GC1 by the way.
Lol.
I don't love those cars because I go, man, these things just look fucking sexy. It's just like with my Subaru Forester. I don't go, man, that's just the most beautiful looking car. I go, nope. It gets me to where I need to, and I enjoy the hitbox of the Octane. That's why I played with the Octane. It doesn't make sense.
I definitely get what you're saying.
Pick a direction, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I actually really like that because if they had picked a direction, like a lot of the pull for Need for Speed for people was, like especially when we were kids, like, I may never own an R34 as long as I live. I may never own a Toyota Supra, and that gave me a chance to drive those cars and do those things. And so you kind of missed the mark with like not leaning into like that aspect of what they could have done. Yeah, I agree. Picking a lane would have been way better for them.
I would almost have thought it would have been better for them specifically if they would have just put Rocket League Sideswipe, like the mobile game, how it's just the 2D Rocket League game.
Yep.
I almost thought it'd have been better if they'd have just done that if they wanted to cater to Rocket League fans. Just put that in the Fortnite. Be like, hey, by the way, you can do it from your phone, but you can also do it from your console or from your PC.
Sure, yeah.
Through Fortnite, right? And you can just play Rocket League Sideswipe. Or if they'd have just committed to some kind of racing. Anything. Because you're right, like a big part of like those racing games for Zack it was Need for Speed. For me, it was like Midnight Club. But it was like, man, this Lexus is beautiful. This Z06, fantastic, right?
Right.
It was the customization that I cared more about than just like the game.
Than the racing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the racing was cool because I liked that I could immediately put my foot on the floor and I'm going 200 miles an hour. I actually very recently played Need for Speed Unbound, and my M3 is nasty. Right?
That's awesome, dude.
But it's because it's a BMW M3 that I'm enjoying it, or an M5. I think it's an M3 though. I could be crazy.
No, I completely get it. And it's funny because of these different things that we've talked about so far. I actually think that Rock Band is the best one of the three that they've come out. Fortnite Festival or whatever it's called. It has this mainstay music that people love, and I've noticed that they have music from like different generations. Like they have music from like the early 2000s. They got some 90s music in there. They've got popular hits today. So like I think Rock Band actually hit the mark the most of the 3 game modes they released.
And see, I would argue not, but here's the reason I disagree.
Okay.
I didn't know that there was a third mode. I thought it was just Rocket Racing and Lego Fortnite.
LOL, dude.
I didn't know there was a Rock Band mode.
Okay. That's Kyle. That's Kyle being Kyle, dude. I was like, dude, everybody loves the Rock Band mode.
I love Rock Band, but I don't know nothing about the special mode. I don't know anything. But that makes sense though. Why you can play the drums? I can go play guitar with you though. That makes sense.
It's cool. A lot of fun, and it's cool because like I play it with Carly sometimes, and like we really enjoy it. It's also like nice to just turn my brain off and just sit and like push the buttons. So
yeah. And to be fair, if it feels that much like Rock Band, just without the guitar stick, hell yeah, go for it.
I honestly wish I could buy a guitar and hook it up to my computer. And like
you probably can.
I probably could make it work, but I never have.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure. Let us know if you guys want to see Zack do a Guitar Hero run.
Medium's calling my name, boys.
All right, so we talked about that, and when it comes to like Rock Band, it comes to Legos, it comes to Rocket League, they got one thing in common, right? They're all a collaboration of sorts, right?
Right.
What do you think is the biggest collaboration Fortnite's ever done?
Eminem.
You know what? That's a damn good one.
Like Marvel, they've done a lot of cool stuff. I like the Marvel one, but like the Eminem one was my favorite. Like the live event for the Eminem collab, I just chef's kiss. It was perfect. It was amazing. So Eminem takes the cake for me there, no questions.
I think Eminem is a huge one. There's no doubting that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to disagree because of the time that the Eminem event come, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to say biggest as in had the most impact, was the most surprising for the time.
Okay.
is what I want to. So I'm going to go. He's not wrong per se because Eminem's probably the biggest name that Fortnite could get. You could argue like Snoop or something like that, but like,
Sure. No, I get what you're saying.
but it's Slim Shady, right? Like whatever, right? The biggest one I would say is the first time they did a Marvels one, and they had that special game mode where you could be Thanos.
Yep.
And go around beating the shit out of people. Nobody. That was their first collaboration. And that was the first one where you were like, "Holy shit!" I
Yeah.
can go. First of all, I can go beat Thanos and run around with an Infinity Gauntlet and just beat the hell out of people.
It was really
But
cool.
that was their first big one, and that was when Fortnite was already peaking. And then they had boom, this come out with Infinity War with all the hype with that. It was Infinity War, right?
I think it was
first.
Infinity War, yeah, because Infinity War was like the first big movie to hit.
I think it was Infinity War though, and so that was the first time where you were like, "Wow, this game is huge. It's got Marvel's attention. This
For
is
sure.
fantastic."
Yeah,
So I would probably say the first Marvel collab. Now they've done a bunch since,
Sure.
but I would probably say the first one.
It definitely put Fortnite on the map in a different way with that collaboration. I agree.
Yeah. What's your favorite collab?
My favorite collab?
Yeah. So you said your biggest. You think the biggest one is Eminem. Mine was Marvel the first time around.
I'm trying to remember like all the collabs they've done.
And then this doesn't have to be skins, by the way. This could be a season. It could be a theme, as long as it's something that had to be a collaboration of sorts.
I mean, honestly, my favorite collaboration has probably been like the superheroes in general. So like there's you can be the Flash, you can be Captain America, there's a Green Arrow skin if you played back then. So there's a lot of like different like the super I don't know that I would pick Marvel or DC, but I would say that the superhero collab in general has been my favorite. They've made great skins, like great emotes. It's been a lot of fun. Even like the Incredibles one, like Frozone and like, all that stuff. So like I really like those as well. And I think that's my favorite one.
That's pretty fair. I don't hate that. My favorite collab it's between two.
Okay.
And it's two I love for two very different reasons.
Eminem's
So
got to be on
one-
this list.
Which one?
Eminem's got to be on this list.
It's not. It's not. I'm gonna really surprise you. Listen, high school Kyle would have loved the Eminem collabs.
Yeah, exactly.
As an old man, like buddy, I'm 28. Like I'm old, I'm tired. Like I'm half asleep as we're doing this. No, I'm just kidding. One is going to be the Dragon Ball Z one. The Dragon Ball one.
Yeah, that's fair.
With Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo.
Yep.
Fantastic, by the way. Shout out my boy Vegeta, Short Kings. We love him. And the second one's going to be the Fallout collab.
I like the Fallout collab a lot.
Fallout will not surprise any of you guys if you know me, because Fallout 3 is my favorite game. I hold very near and dear to my heart. I love it. Let us know in the comment section below if you guys want us to do a episode based on Fallout.
We're gonna do a Fallout episode.
We're going to. Zach needs to replay the games though. He needs a refresher.
I mean, yeah, probably at this point I do.
I can't imagine how long it's been since you played a Fallout game. Well, it's not. Well, but Fallout, and I just wish the Fallout collab come during a different season, because that was when they also did Mad Max.
Yep.
And they butchered that entire fucking season.
No, they definitely, it was a massive disappointment to all the Fallout fans.
Yeah. And it wasn't that it was per se a bad season. But no, it was a bad season. Let's call it what it was.
I was like, that season sucked.
It was either a season that I didn't play a lot, or it was a season that was very short-lived because they realized they didn't have anything with it.
The cars.
Vehicles were too strong. Exactly. Cars were way too strong. It just wasn't fun to play with.
The cars sucked for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Let us go into... This was in my shorts. Keep that shit in.
Okay, then.
Popsicle stick, and I'm not that fat. These shorts were just in my chair.
Alrighty, then.
Who do you want to see them collab with? Who would you like to see? Who's left that you really want to see Fortnite collab with?
Man. That I would like to see them collab with?
Yeah, who do you like, man? I really want to see that Agro Blaze 96 collab.
Bro, first off, no. But You go ahead. I'm gonna have to tank on this one for a minute because there's like quite a few things that I like and stuff like that. So go ahead. Let me tank for a minute.
You didn't even say Ninja is one of your favorite collabs, by the way. Don't forget he has his own skin.
Ninja wasn't like a collab in my opinion. Ninja was like an icon skin. They're not really the same thing to me. So that's why I didn't mention him.
Who would I want to see Fortnite collab with? Man. So they got Fallout, right, near and dear to my heart. I think they did a brief thing with Borderlands, which I also really love.
There was something with Borderlands, yeah, for sure.
I love Borderlands. That's another one that's pretty hot for me. So I have to go to something that I enjoy more, real life and out of the gaming hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to do a collab with the New York Yankees.
Okay. I mean,
I want
sure.
them to put an Aaron Judge skin in and make him 6'7" too, just like he really is, or something. I don't care. I'll take the penalty. Or just just a generic Yankees character like they did with the football guys.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Have a guy in the Yankees jersey. I'd buy it.
That would be cool.
Or I'd peer pressure somebody to buy it for me.
I mean, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I guess my pick, and it's kind of weird because they've already kind of done this, would have to be Cobra Kai. Okay. Cobra Kai is like one of my favorite shows that we've watched recently. But it's just like you know what? Actually, scratch that. Ted Lasso. Like put the people from Ted Lasso.
Oh.
Like I would love to be able to run around as Ted Lasso with a gun. Like that would be hilarious. Like
he's even got his own special. He's got darts.
Yeah, dude, it'd be perfect. Like I think Ted Lasso would be a cool collab.
Ted Lasso is a wild pull, by the way.
Yeah, I love that. I'm very glad that I thought about that.
That's a very good one. That's all the questions I have. I have one more.
All right, let's go.
To end, you don't have anything you want to add before we get to the end?
I don't think so, because I know what the last question's coming, and I've thought about this all day.
I've actually phrased this question differently.
Damn it, Kyle. All right, hit me with it.
It's still the same concept.
Okay.
Right? But I've phrased it a little differently.
All right.
Right. So we do this at the end of every episode. It's called Hot Takes.
Yep.
Instead of just calling it Hot Takes, though, so you can just, because we've already done what would you add, what would you take away?
Sure.
And sometimes that's kind of a hot take, right? What is something you would change about Fortnite that you would like, but the community would widely dislike?
Something I want that the community would widely dislike.
Yep. This is, I understand this is selfish. I want this for me.
Take away mantling. Take away mantling. I think that the game without mantling, even in no build, is really fun. So take away the ability to mantle. Make the game more basic, like it was 8 years ago when it came out.
Wait, what?
Yeah, take away mantling. Make the game more basic, like it was.
I don't hate that. That's not the worst thing in the world. I do like mantling, but I could live without it.
That's why I picked it, because I think everybody would be like, nah, I'd rather keep it in the game. But also, man, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, it wouldn't make as many people mad. It would just be an inconvenience for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
What was something I would change that the community would widely dislike, but I would like? You know what I want to do? Really, I want to take away custom maps.
Wow.
I want people to level up by playing the fucking game.
Man,
let me rephrase. Actually, let me paraphrase before I get crucified.
All right.
I don't want you to be able to collect XP from custom games.
You know what? I don't hate that.
Because there are so many AFK things.
Yep.
So many AFK maps or maps you gain experience from when you're not really playing the game. You're playing Farming Simulator, for Christ's sake. You're playing Heyday.
You're actually playing Farmville.
Old Facebook game.
Like literally.
I think you shouldn't be able to get XP from that. I think the creative community in Fortnite gets more credit than they ever deserve. They won't ever get the credit for it because it's a game made mostly for children. Right. So they'll never get the love that like the Halo community did with Forge, right? Like if you knew a guy who was really good at Forge, you that was your guy. Fortnite will never be like that. There are people that'll follow authors, but they'll never know them like that, right?
No, for sure.
I don't think the community should get XP from custom maps like that, though.
I actually really like it because there's a lot of people who would disagree with you because they farm XP to rank up and get the levels and to get the things from the battle pass like that. But I agree. They should take that away. I think that's a very spot on take. Play the game, level up.
Play the game, level up. That's right. And not that you can't play the stuff if you're having fun with it, but you can't do that and get XP from it. I think that's a fantastic part. And on Zach, do you have anything else before I cut us out?
Yes, I have a hot take.
Oh,
I have to say this. I've thought about it all day. Fortnite has revolutionized the gaming industry more than any other game.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is my hot take. And I thought about this a lot because I think that we talked about it in Halo, how Halo like revolutionized shooters and things like that. I'm telling you, Fortnite with the different things it's done and how it's put like a bunch of games into one has revolutionized the gaming industry more than anything else in my lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very hot take. Let's fight in the comments. Kyle will save the comments for me to fight with you.
Yeah, you guys will notice that when we respond, we tag who's responding.
Oh, for sure.
If you guys get a like and a heart, it's almost always me. If it's just a like or just a heart, it's Zach. I don't know why I do both.
I heart. Sure I just heart.
Make sure you guys tell him how wrong he is for that hot take. My hot take's gonna stay with what it is though, where you guys can't get XP. Just play the game, you fucks.
Bring it on. I'm here for it. Bring it on.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us again. This is episode 5. Let us know what other kind of things you guys want to see in the comment section below. We're taking ideas and suggestions. Next episode is going to be a very special one, led by your own AgroBlaze96. So thank you guys so much for coming by. I'm the Woodshed.
I'm AgroBlaze96.
Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to y'all next time.